So now let's right away dive in and take a look at two patterns that you really need to learn. And I'm talking about hammer patterns and shooting stars. And let's begin here by taking a look at the hammer. So this pattern right here to the left is a hammer. And the hammer pattern is a single candlestick pattern, meaning that it consists of only one candlestick. And there are a few rules you need to know about in order to correctly identify a hammer. The first thing we need to know about is that every single candlestick have 4 specific price points. We have the open, so this right here is where the candle starts. We have the close, which is the level where the price is after the candle is done. We also have the low point, which is all the way down here. This is the lowest level the price has been during the candle. And we also have the high. This right here is the highest point the price has been during this candle. And in order to identify a hammer, what you're looking out for is that you're looking out for a small real body. So this wide part of the candle is what we're calling the real body. And we also want to see a long lower wick. So the wide part of the candle is called a real body. And the small lines here above and below are called wicks. And for the hammer, we want the lower wick to be at least twice as large compared to the real body. But preferably, we want the wick to be even longer, perhaps 3 times as large or even 4 times as large. You can see in this particular example, it looks like the wick is pretty much 4 times as large as the real body. In order to find a good hammer, you also want this upper wick to either be very small or not exist at all. And now I want you guys to shift your attention and take a look at this price chart right here. And I want you guys to try to identify a hammer pattern. But before you do this, I can actually give you 2 hints. The first hint is that the hammer doesn't have to be green. The real body of the hammer can be either green or red. It's still a valid hammer. The next hint is that the hammer is a bullish reversal pattern, meaning that before the hammer appears, we want to see a downtrend. Then the hammer appears right here, and the goal of the hammer is to reverse the price towards the upside. And I can actually give you guys one more hint here. Look out for hammers close to the support level right here. So now if you want to, feel free to pause the video and do the exercise. Alright, so did you find the hammer? Well, the hammer pattern is right here. As you guys can see, it has a small real body. You can also see that before the hammer appeared, we had a downtrend, we saw the hammer, and after the hammer, the price reversed to the upside. The next pattern I want to take a look at is the shooting star. And here to the right, we actually have an example of a shooting star. And as you might notice, the shooting star is very similar to the hammer. It's pretty much the hammer, but upside down. So for the shooting star, we still want to see a small real body, but in this case, we want to have a long upper wick. And the upper wick should be at least twice as large as the body, but I really prefer when the wick is 3 times as large or even 4 times as large. And once again, you want to see either little or no lower wick at all. The color of the body can be either green or red. Both of these colors creates valid shooting stars. But you know, one could argue that a red color is a tiny bit more bearish, but it isn't super important. And because this is the opposite of the hammer, the shooting star is a bearish reversal pattern. So before the shooting star appears, we want to see an uptrend. Then we see the shooting star right here. And the goal of the shooting star is to reverse the price to the downside. And now if you want to, you can once again look at this chart and try to see if you can identify a shooting star. So if you want to, you can pause the video right here. But in this case, we can't really find any valid shooting star. And why is this the case? Well, if you look closely here, you can see that we have a few candles that looks like shooting stars. For example, right here, you can see that we have a candle that is pretty much looking like a shooting star, right? And you can also see, for example, right here, this is also pretty much looking like a shooting star. But the reason these two candles are not valid shooting stars is because in order to have a valid shooting star, we need to see an uptrend before the pattern appears. And in both of these cases, we actually see a downtrend before the shooting star appears, so it's not really a valid shooting star. I would actually say that the only valid shooting star is this red candle. I hope you can see it, this red candle right here. It's a very good looking shooting star, and it actually comes after a tiny bounce here. But because the upwards movement before the shooting star appeared was so small, this is still, at least in my opinion, not a great shooting star. Alright, so this video was just a super short clip from our full price action trading course. So if you got the time, I highly recommend to click or tap right here to watch the full price action video. I hope to see you guys over there.